What is up? Welcome back. Do you like to do it, build it, or make it?
So do we.
And we have new videos each week. We've been sharing more content using our UV printers, and we've been getting some questions about UV printing in general.
So this week we thought we would do a little video on the who, what, when, and why we got a UV printer.
What is UV printing? UV printing or ultraviolet printing uses special UV curable inks that are applied to the material. As the ink is deposited, an ultraviolet light follows closely behind, instantly curing the ink. With this rapid curing, you don't get the bleeding or spreading of the ink, so you get a crisp, vibrant image every time.
So ladies, think about your gel manicures. As your polish is applied, you put your hands under the UV lights in the little lamp. It instantly dries your nails, so you can walk out with a perfect manicure. That's what happens with these prints.
So what makes UV printing so great? I love it because it's so versatile. It can print on practically any hard surface. It can print on paper, plastic, glass, metal, wood, and even some fabrics.
We already talked about how the inks are cured instantly, so it's speed and efficiency, meaning that once your project comes off, you're done, it's ready to go. So turnaround time is faster and it's making your production more efficient.
I also love the durability. UV printing provides scratch resistant, pretty durable surface. This board has been out there for about 11 months. And these are UV DTF transfers that we applied to this board. They still look great, so they're UV resistant. The colors look pretty much like they did on day one. And they're still pretty durable. I mean, I still can't scratch them.
And this is untreated MDF. So this is not painted. There is no protection on this board. So that shows you what MDF will do outside, just raw. But these stickers are straight on this raw surface, and
they've been in the snow,
no sanding, no prep, nothing.
The rain.
Well, right, it rained all day yesterday. This board is actually wet.
Well, it's rained all year. It's been out in the weather for a complete year, and they still look great.
And another factor is the VOCs, or volatile organic compounds. It has low VOCs, which makes it a great product and a great machine for us to use indoors. We don't need any special filtration system for it. We can just print using our 110 outlet. It's not using a 220 volt outlet. It's a pretty big machine. And the roll to roll is also a pretty small machine, but both use 110, and I can use them indoors with no special equipment. So you might be asking, why did we get a UV printer? Well, we wanted to be able to offer more products.
We wanted to expand our product offering for B2B. We wanted to be able to offer better pens, more options on tumblers. We wanted to be able to offer, like, I don't know, golf balls seem to be a big thing, keychains. We can even do skateboards. We could offer like anything hard surface we can now print on and actually make them pop.
Right, what else did we have there? Phone cases,
phone cases,
tags.
USB drives, luggage tags, baseballs, skateboards, awards. We just went to the APA. There are so many shaped awards out there. There's thousands of different shapes.
Well, awards that you can laser engrave, but maybe add some UV printing to. You can use acrylic awards. There were so many different options.
Wood.
We could purchase award blanks and then
Marble.
UV print on them. I really want to expand that B2B side of our business. Signage and displays. If you've been following along with our social media, you'll see that I've been doing some window clings for our front of our workshop space. This allows me to be able to change it out for the seasons. We painted them with paint a few years ago, but that was hard to switch out on a frequent basis. Now I can switch them with each season, and I'm so excited to add that versatility and changing decor to the front of this workshop space. I can also offer signage for inside the workshop space. Things like, hey, Bowtown this way. And
simple directions. Just get your paint over here, get your rollers over here.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And we can also offer these types of signage items for other businesses, some more B2B signage products.
Packaging. We can also do some custom packaging now. We can include stickers, transfers. Again, if I want to throw in a little pen, I throw a sticker on there. Just packaging in general, I can take up to a whole other level.
Fun inserts. If I want to do a whole bunch of postcards, I wouldn't have to order those from Canva. Maybe if I were doing hundreds of them, that would be more efficient. But if I wanted to do some fun giveaway type things, I could print those myself, and that would be exciting. I'm looking forward to doing something like that.
I can't wait to start throwing some stickers up in the boxes.
Oh, decorative pieces. So we also, of course, this was like the main reason.
Yeah, this is the main reason we got it.
I wanted to be able to add pattern backers to our signs. So if you've seen a couple of our Test Cut Tuesdays and maybe followed along with our Sunday studio sessions, you'll see that we've been trying to offer some pattern backer pieces for some of our signs. Here I have a couple. This is just a half of a butterfly. Well, that one behind us, butterfly sign that we did. And this is using roll to roll, but I can also print these. We also did some patterned acrylic, and I want to be able to offer some pattern acrylic that goes with some of our kits. We did the bunny glasses for our Happy Easter sign, and we printed this acrylic. It was clear. We printed it. We cut these out, and if you order the Happy Easter unfinished bunny kit, we throw in a couple of pieces of acrylic for the glasses.
If you're thinking about investing in a UV printer, we can share some of our requirements that we came up with when we were thinking about getting a UV printer. So our first was, what is our primary application?
You can't do it that way. You gotta do number one.
Number one, how are you gonna use this thing? We already knew how we wanted to use it. We wanted to be able to print on some raw MDF to create some backers. We also wanted to create our personalized acrylic. We knew we wanted to expand on some of our B2B offerings, make some tumblers a lot faster.
Number two, flatbed versus roll to roll. We spent months negotiating whether we wanted a flatbed versus roll to roll. We went through, both of us, advantages, disadvantages.
I really wanted the roll to roll because I thought it was gonna be the most versatile thing that we could buy. I thought once we printed that transfer, it's just like a giant sticker. I could slap it on anything. I could slap it on a tumbler. I could throw it on a skateboard. We could put it on the pens, the USB drives, the golf balls. People love the golf balls, I don't know. We could even throw it on the raw MDF to make our own backers. We could even put it on some acrylic. I mean, it won't look like it's printed on acrylic, but it'll be there.
I wanted the flatbed because I felt like you could do all of that and then some. So with the flatbed, you'll actually print directly to your material or your substrate. So I would print directly to the MDF and I wouldn't have to put a sticker on here, print directly to the acrylic or anything else. I could print directly to the pens, to the tumblers, all of those things. You can also use adhesive transfer sheets. You lay that on your printer, peel the backing off, you can print on that, and you can create your own transfers
just
with
like
the flatbed.
It's just like doing it with the roll to roll, except you're adding an extra step where you have to put the B film on top of it.
The other big consideration with roll to roll versus flatbed is there is a pricing difference. The flatbed is gonna cost you more. There's a larger initial upfront investment versus the roll to roll was probably half the price of the flatbed, which is why Garrett loves to do the old, let's do the least amount of money for the most amount of bang to get started.
I'm all about trying to get in and test the waters for the least amount of money.
Yes, he is.
Number three, print quality. Now we know we didn't need like photo quality because we wanted to do backers and stuff, but then we also do some military signs, and those military signs get super detailed, where we take those insignia patches and we make them an actual sign or something. Some of those have thousands of colors and stuff in them, and they get crazy. It's not something that we can hand paint. So the printer needed to be able to pull off those patches.
So we really had to think about what those print heads were that we wanted to invest in. The higher quality the print head, the more expense you're adding to your purchase. So when we chose, well, we didn't say, we chose to go flatbed to begin with. Why? Because that's what I wanted. You know how it is. So I felt like flatbed gave us the best of both worlds. So we did choose to add the larger investment because we got both options with the flatbed. And we chose to go with the higher quality print heads so that we could have the option to do photo quality in the future if we wanted to. I figured if we're gonna go with this investment, go big or go home, right?
Go big or go home. And with that higher investment, we did get better color management. So we were able to do color matching for both our paint brand and these military signs. Some of those military signs are very hard to do the color matching on. Again, they have like 1,000 colors in them. So the color matching was pretty important too.
And the print heads are what allow you to be able to do that. Number 4, consider the print size and the machine size. As we talked about flatbed versus roll to roll, our flatbed printer is
quite large.
What is it?
It takes up about a 6 by 6 foot area.
Right, it is pretty large. The roll-to-roll machine is much smaller.
Probably a 2 by 2 foot area.
Maybe a third of that size. Yeah, exactly. What was that, a quarter of the size?
A third, yep.
So, and it really doesn't take up a full room, where the UV flatbed printer really does take up it's going to take up a full room in your house.
But we did go with the larger printer, the flatbed, only because we wanted to be able to do print and cuts. So we wanted to be able to print a 2 foot by 3 foot board.
Right, our flatbed is 24 by 36. You can get them smaller. What is it, like 18 by 24?
I think so.
There's just different smaller bed sizes. If you know you're going to be doing small items, like just a set of golf balls or maybe a few phone cases,
keychains,
smaller promotional items, maybe you only need a smaller bed size. But again,
we wanted to be able to do rounds and backers.
Yes, I knew I wanted at least a 16-inch backer or maybe even an 18-inch. But for some of these military signs, I really wanted to be able to go up to a 24-inch backer, and the 24 by 36-inch bed will allow me to do that.
Now with the roll-to-roll, we did end up getting the 13-inch wide. So it'll do 13-inch wide by, I don't know, I think it's like 4 foot. Now you can go up to a 24-inch wide, but that really added to the cost, and I didn't want to make that kind of investment to test the waters. Number 5, cost of ownership. How much is this thing actually going to cost me to run on the daily?
So we talked about the different investments with the print heads, the bed size, but there are also things like the inks that you'll be adding. It's a CMYK, so each color is its own bottle of ink.
CMYK varnish.
And electricity, maintenance. How much time is it going to take me to maintenance this machine? Do I have to maintenance it every single day?
And how much does that take? How long will the maintenance every day be?
For our machine, we know there's different brands out there, different models. For our machine, I really don't have to maintenance it every day.
Well, that was one of the things that we looked for when we were looking for a machine. We wanted to make sure it had that white ink circulation.
Yes,
we wanted
that
to make
was so
sure
important.
that it had head capping, because we wanted to take a lot of that maintenance out of the equation. So we were looking for a machine that used a lot less maintenance and had a lot of that maintenance already automated.
Now, that's not to say that there is no maintenance. We do have to make sure that we run this every few days. So, but that's not a problem, because I'm always looking for the next fun thing to print, and I'm always preparing in the days in between or in the evenings or something. I'm always creating some new design. And right now it's still new and exciting, so I do my window clings. Oh, I want to make something for the tumbler, or because this one did come with a tumbler attachment, which I haven't used yet, but I'm excited to do that. I'm making posters, I'm making signage. There's so many different things that you can do. There's always a reason to run it, and you have to do that every few days just to make sure that the inks are flowing through and nothing settles or dries in the
heads,
the whole flow process the tubes,
So maintenance was number 6, so we just covered that one.
Oh, sorry, I jumped the gun.
That's all right. You want to do number 7 then?
Yes. Number 7, software compatibility. Something to think about, and we see a lot on the forums, and people have asked us as well, hey, do you have to learn new software? Yes. You do. So there's a couple of different things. With the flatbed, we do have to use Adobe Photoshop. Now, I haven't had experience with Adobe Photoshop. Garrett has, so it was no big deal for him, but it was a consideration for me. I was a little bit nervous, but really there's not a whole lot to it, and it was quick for me to pick up and do what I needed to do for the UV printer.
So with that, there are a few types of RIP software. So the RIP software that we use for our flatbed is very industrial. It doesn't really do any hand holding at all. So we did need to use like Photoshop to prep the images, get it ready, turn it into a TIFF, put the white underneath, put the varnish on top, then we can send it to the machine. Now the other machine, the roll-to-roll that we have, does all of that for you.
Yes.
It does a lot of hand holding. All you really need to do is load your image, tell it what size, and hit print.
So we didn't
But there are gives and takes on that. So with that, I'm not able to really utilize the varnish and the white like I want to or can.
Yes, build it up, create textures.
Or if I make my own TIFF using the industrial software in Photoshop, I can layer it, I can have varnish in spot areas. I can really make it look different, glossy and flat in areas. I can do raised things, like what they call 2.5D printing.
Yes, you can do that with the flatbed, but you can't really do that with the roll-to-roll. You're really gonna add the white, the ink, and the varnish. And you can choose whether to add varnish or not add varnish. Those are really your options, but it's so simple just to load the image in and say, go. And I don't think we explained what RIP is. It really just converts the image and allows you to take the image and the machine to understand that there is a white layer, an ink layer, and then a varnish layer, which is that varnish layer is that shiny, glossy layer on top.
Really adds some protectant to it.
Yeah, so you could choose whether to add the varnish or not add the varnish, like I said.
But you are going to learn a new piece of software.
So Garrett and I both came from an application development background. So we've both been in IT. New software really isn't that intimidating to either of us. So we knew we could pick it up rather quickly. But if you're new and you're to UV printing and you don't really have a technical background, maybe roll-to-roll is where you go, because like I said, you load the image, you click print, it's gonna do all of that for you.
Number 8, environmental and safety concerns. Because we had to run this thing inside, we wanted to make sure there was no like poisonous fumes that got emitted when we were doing our printing.
Yes,
like
I was worried about that.
Like if you were to use solvent printing, you're definitely gonna need some kind of extra filtration, something to clean the air. But because this is low VOC and instantly cured, and there's not a lot of smell to it.
I can smell the inks, I can smell it when it's running, but it's not strong, it's not overpowering, and it's not dangerous. So low VOCs are great with these UV printers, both of them.
We did want to have a lid on our flatbed printer because that ultraviolet light can damage your eyes. So don't watch your print. Kim loves to watch her print.
I mean, I just don't look at the blue light, that's all.
So I really wanted to have a cover on the flatbed for safety, for dust, just to make sure nothing would mess with the print and the print wouldn't mess with my eyes.
Right, nothing falls on it. It's really protected while it's running. It's in that little covered case as it's running. True. Oh, investigate your manufacturer reputation. This is a great one. So I alluded to this a moment ago. There are a lot of different UV printer manufacturers out there, and there are some considerations to go with that. Yeah, we put the paper down because I feel like I got a lot to say on this one. So there are lots of different manufacturers out there. You know, we hear us talk about the different manufacturers with the lasers. Same thing with these UV printers. You really want to go with a reputable company that you're confident is going to be there to help you and support you in what you need.
Well, I think it's your level of comfort with technology, tinkering, and figuring stuff out. So if you don't want to figure anything out, maybe you get a US-based company that has support, that can come out and show you how to use your machine, that can come out and support you with your machine.
They will be there with you every step of the way. They will help you set it up. They will show you how to use it, and they will help you. They are going to be at the other end of that phone if you make a phone call at any time.
Now, on the other side of that coin, you can get something from overseas where you have minimal support, maybe no support. You have to figure stuff out on your own or do it through YouTube videos. Sometimes they do have support, but that support doesn't start until about 9 p.m. our time. So you could be up to the wee hours of the morning working with their support. So those are some of the things you need to consider.
Well, back to the cost. To get that support and that hand holding, you're going to pay a little bit more money. You're going to pay a lot more money.
A lot more money.
If you're going to be able to do it on your own, let's say you've been, you've got like an engineering background. Garrett is very handy.
Well, I was a systems engineer prior to all of this.
So he could pretty much fix anything. And I knew if that were well, I've also been very handy.
Yeah, I actually broke it and I haven't been able to touch it since I broke it.
I always have been handy, so it doesn't scare me to get in there and figure out how it works. I also was in a development background, so I love to figure out, it's like a puzzle. How is this thing working? And I'll be able to fix it. So that doesn't scare me. So we knew that we could take a minimal investment, a reputable company, but a little lower investment for less hand holding.
And we probably saved between 60 and 70% of the cost by getting it overseas. with no support?
A little. They did help me set it up. They spent that first week, they spent hours upon hours with me getting it all set up.
Late
But
night.
since then, I haven't spoken to them. So since then, I've been figuring things out on my own. I have
YouTube videos.
I had to learn a lot about humidity and factors.
Oh, that's right.
Did I talk about it in here somewhere? I got my little notes here. No, I don't think so. It's not coming up. So somewhere in here, I did mention something else to consider and learning when you're learning these machines is just environmental factors and the fact that seasons change and it's going to impact your prints. So I've been following along these groups and I see other people experiencing the same things I have.
Well, during the winter, we had a problem with static.
Yeah.
And when it would get staticky, the print would get blurry. It looked fuzzy.
And then to figure out what the issue was there.
And then when the other day when it was raining and it was hot, it got too humid and it just looked thick.
The varnish layer isn't drying like it's supposed to. I still haven't quite figured that out yet, but that's just, there's always something that I'm tinkering with as I'm learning new things. Again, I've only had this, since November. So what are we in?
6 months, 5 months?
Less than 6 months. I've been playing with this, but I've learned so much and you'll see how quickly you can kind of learn, understand.
Well, just get immersed into it.
Yeah.
There's so much to learn and it's so fun. There's so many things you can do with it.
It is so fun. I think it's fun. So if that doesn't sound exciting to you, then you may want to add some sort of an investment, but really have somebody who's going to hold your hand and help you along the way and be there. Anytime you have a question, you can pick up the phone. But that comes with a cost, like we said. Oh, and last but not least, number 10.
Number 10, explore demonstrations and training. Go to where the UV printers are, put your hands on them, watch how they work, talk to the people. We actually got to go to the International Sign Association Expo last April.
In Florida,
where we had some soft requirements going in. But one of the reasons that we went is because we knew that a lot of manufacturers of UV printers will be there. We'll be able to get to see them work, ask questions. And that visit actually really helped us form up our requirements.
Yes, we learned so much. We spent a full day walking through there. We could have spent the full 3 days walking through there, talking to different manufacturers. I got to learn. I mean,
that's where we learned about varnish and spot varnish. I had no idea about that until we actually got to talk to them. And I was like, why is this spot shiny and this spot's not? And he's like, oh, let me show you.
I'm super jealous. I would love the 4 foot by 8 foot.
Oh,
we saw some huge, even bigger than that,
They had bigger than that. There was like 10 foot, 16 foot. They get crazy big.
Those are huge signs. That is definitely a commercial investment. That's hundreds of thousands of dollars of an investment for something like that.
With that said, I mean, I guess the bed sizes can go from anywhere from like the sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11 inches, up to like 8.5 by 11 feet.
Yes. Yeah.
The bed sizes vary throughout manufacturers and whatever you want to do with it.
But we really, like he said, understood more about the varnish, understood more about the inks. There are something else we didn't talk about is there are different types of inks. And so there's maintenance associated with switching out. That was part of our maintenance item there. More switching out your different inks. So if you're doing, some things require soft inks.
Like the roll-to-roll printer uses soft ink because I'm going to use it and form it onto some type of thing. Whereas our flatbed printer uses hard inks, which aren't meant to really be applied to things.
Flexible type things.
It'll do great printing right on the surface, but it's not really meant to
flex and bend. But there are special inks that can do that. But there's maintenance that comes with that because you have to drain your printer, add your soft inks, come back to hard inks, whatever it might be. So there's different types of inks and maintenance associated with switching those out. But we learned a lot about the different types of inks while we were at the Sign Expo. What else? The bed types.
Head types.
Oh yeah, the print heads and the different
lamp types. Some have one lamp, some have two. Just a bunch of.
We highly recommend if you're going to make a huge investment for a UV printer.
Go look, touch, and feel.
Yeah, go to one of those expos. I really think you're going to find it worth it. We really learned a lot. That's how we came up with these 10 requirements,
Yeah, that's
right?
how we came up with the requirements.
Okay, so lastly, let's talk about pros and cons of owning a UV printer.
All right, we'll do, oh, did you take
Yeah, it's right here.
Oh, it's right here.
Yeah.
It's right in front of me. All right. I will do pros.
Oh,
I'm good cop.
I get to be bad cop as per usual.
All right, so pros, versatility in printing. Well, we've talked about that almost the whole time. You can print on practically any hard surface. And if you're using like roll to roll, you can place it on anything. You can put it on windows, cars, any hard surface. High quality output. What we talked about, because it's flash dried, you get those crisp images. You don't really get any of that fuzz, the fading, or the bleeding. They look great. The colors look great. The colors look vibrant, especially if you can throw the white behind it and the varnish on top. Instant drying. I love that it dries instantly. We've had it where I've paused the printer. It's gone across. It's paused it. I've rubbed it. And it's already dry. It is dry as soon as it lays down. And I love that. I hate waiting for stuff to dry. Paint, glue, whatever it is. Especially resin. Durability.
You do use the UV resin, don't you?
I do use it. Yeah, I love the UV resin. I hate traditional resin.
All right, keep going.
Durability. Well, we talked about how these have been out there for 11 months. Still scratch resistant, still UV resistant. Obviously,
and the colors haven't faded. Yeah,
the colors look great.
Oh, you got a couple more.
Eco-friendly because of that low VOC, or those volatile organic compounds. That was a mouthful. It makes it a lot safer. It's a lot healthier for our work environment than those traditional solvent printers. And increased efficiency. Because it cures fast, it prints fast, it looks great. I can just pull it off the printer, know it's good to go, and keep moving.
All right, let's talk about some of the cons associated with UV printing. And these are just maybe not so much cons, but things to be aware of. Number one, high initial investment. You do have to invest in a UV printer. And we talked about ranges of those investments. I think when we talked to roll, our investment is $6,000 versus the flatbed, which is at least double that, which could go up to triple or quadruple that, right?
I've seen them up in the 60s and 80,000s.
Something else to think about, and we tried to say it earlier, but I'm going to reiterate here, material limitations. This is for hard surfaces. If you want to do t-shirts, that's apparel printing and that's DTF printing. And we have other videos on DTF printing, but this really isn't for t-shirts, bags, soft goods.
That's a different DTF. There's UV DTF and then there's fabric DTF. That's a whole different ballgame.
We also talked about maintenance requirements. There is a regular maintenance to make sure this thing is running at optimal performance. So you do have to make sure you run it every few days. You have to make sure that your heads don't dry out, that the ink is circulating through the tube so those never dry out.
Every now and then you do have to clean out the heads, I'd say weekly or whatever. Use one of those microfiber Q-tips with some solvent, just clean the heads.
You have to think about ink costs. These are UV inks and they tend to be just a little bit more expensive. I still think they're relatively affordable for the amount of printing you're getting at. I've not yet in the last 6 months had to change out my inks, and I have been printing every, I have
been making some big prints.
Oh, I did do varnish once. I had to,
that's right,
I had to top off my varnish, but that's it, not the other inks. A little
alarm goes off and tells you that it needs ink.
And then training needs. Of course, we talked about training needs. Operating UV printers require specialized training. So think about whether you have the skills or the experience and you want that training coming from your provider, or you think you can get that training on your own.
I mean, you just don't mind learning something new.
Oh, here it is. I did have something about ink variations, that there are different types of inks and there's maintenance associated with swapping those out. So think about what you're going to be printing on a regular basis. Can you just use hard inks and leave those in there? Or you're going to have to swap them out on the regular for flexible items. So think about whether you're going to have hard inks, soft inks, etc. in your printer and what you want to initially put in there, because this is the types of things you're going to print on a regular basis.
I wouldn't let inks stop you or hold you back, though. The inks are probably one of the least important requirements.
I agree. And that is it. Those are my cons, which weren't so bad.
Not
See?
too bad. That wasn't too bad, bad cop.
Well, we hope that this video helped you understand a little more about UV printing, understand all the considerations that we kind of thought through and debated over.
Debated, months of debating.
And why we chose to get a UV printer for our business. If you're interested in getting a UV printer, especially a roll-to-roll, we do have an affiliate link down below. Feel free to click on that. That'll throw us a couple of pennies and might save you a little bit of money. Flatbed, I don't really have a discount code or a affiliated manufacturer, but
I will
if
leave
you're
the make and model down below, and if you're adventurous enough to go off and secure that one, good for you. We also do Sunday studio sessions. We have a Sunday studio session coming up this Sunday. So if you have any questions about UV printing, that would be a great time where you'd be able to interact with us, ask us questions in real time.
Those are live Q&A sessions.
We can actually take the camera back there and we'll play with the UV printers live.
Yeah, we haven't done that for the Flatbed yet.
No, we haven't. That could be so fun.
I know.
I'm in. Well, I am about out of time. I gotta go make some more UV prints. You gotta go do some research, and we will see you on Sunday. Oh, and then Tuesday.
What?
And then on Friday again, where we'll do it, build it, and make it. Big thanks to all of our patrons. We love you guys. Did I leave you hanging? That is the best community. I love you guys. I can't wait to see you on Sunday.